Russell, hope you're doing well. It is Monday night, about 8:35, and about this time next week, we're going to be at our hotel in New Orleans. I want to let you know that I'm really excited about this, and want to let you know that you should be too. The people of Emmanuel that I've talked to are really excited about having this chance to send you to New Orleans. They really want you to grow in your faith and to continue to serve Jesus and His people. Before we go, there are a few details that I need to let you know about. First of all, just to let you know that we're staying at a hotel called the New Orleans Marriott on Canal Street, and this time we're staying with other South Carolina Lutherans. Those of you that went last time to the gathering might remember that we stayed at a smaller hotel. This time we're staying at a bigger hotel, and I actually think that's going to be a good thing. There's going to be more on that a little bit later, and I'll explain why I think that's a good thing. Before we get to New Orleans, though, there are a few details that I need us to get to. First of all, I need everyone to gather this Sunday morning at 9:15 in the middle school classroom for a final meeting, okay? Please make every effort to be there. I know that's a little bit before Sunday school time. Hopefully we're going to go for right in an hour or so, but we just need to get together to talk about those last-minute details and see what sort of questions you guys have and things like that. There will be a few forms that you need to fill out. I sent some of those to you earlier on, and it's okay if you don't have it. It's stuff like a health form, a release, and a few other things. If you don't have it, it's okay. I'll have plenty of copies there for you on Sunday. Parents, make sure that when you come on Sunday that you have your health insurance card. That's one of the things that they'll be asking for, so make sure that you bring that. I've also got t-shirts from the South Carolina Synod that I need to give to you, and so I'm going to try and get that done this week, but there's a chance that it might be done on Sunday. I've got some water bottles on the way that are gathering water bottles, and so we'll have those there for you, and you can pick that out. Also, if you have a cell phone, if your youth has a cell phone, please make sure that you know that number. We're going to have a list on Sunday morning of all the cell phone numbers of everybody that's going on the group, and then we're going to take some time and program those into our cell phones so that we can make sure that we can get in touch with everyone if we need to. Now, 99% of the time we're going to be together as a group, and we should always be together, but on the remote chance that we don't wind up being together as a group, we're going to need to get in touch with each other through cell phones. So, here's a few details that I just wanted to touch base with you about. First of all, we're meeting to leave for New Orleans Monday morning at 5:30 in the morning at Mount Tabor Lutheran Church on B Avenue in West Columbia. That is very early in the morning, especially for me. I'm not noted for being a morning person, but we need to do that so that we can get to New Orleans at a reasonable hour on Monday. It's going to be a full bus. It's a 55-passenger bus, and on that bus there are going to be 54 people on it. So that means that, it's going to be pretty full with stuff on there. And because of that, we want to make sure that you limit your packing to one suitcase, and one carry-on bag. Those of you that have flown on an airplane before, think of what you would bring to go on an airplane. About 50 pounds or so is what most people say when you check in on an airplane. I'm going to send you a link of what to bring, but the bottom line for all this is that you don't need to bring lots of extra clothes. Most days we are not going to have time to go back to the hotel to change after we've been out during the day before we go into mass gathering that night. And here's the good news. Everyone will be hot, everyone will be sweaty because it's New Orleans in July. And this is the one time in your life when that's okay. Because everybody else, I promise, is going to be hot and sweaty at some point during the gathering. Also, make sure that in your carry-on bag that you pack books and whatever else you need for a long trip. Any device that you have, iPod, iPad, whatever, any electronic device that you have that makes noise, if it makes any sort of noise, you need to make sure that you have a headphone jack in it and that you have your headphones on when you're listening to it on the bus, okay? And also make sure that you bring any chargers that you have with you for anything like iPhone or iPads, whatever. Um, so also make sure that you're wearing tennis shoes, comfortable tennis shoes. Um, I am not going to allow us to wear open-toed shoes while we're going anywhere. The only exception to that rule is that you can wear them in the hotel, but you may not wear them when they're out and about. And that's because the most common injury that people have at National Youth Gathering are toe injuries. And that's from things like people stubbing their toes and getting stepped on and having pieces of glass shards and other things like that happen, even though you're safe. You want to make sure that you're as safe as possible, and open-toed shoes do not help. So please wear closed-toed tennis shoes. Also, make sure that you bring your toiletries with you. The hotel is going to have shampoo, soap, towels, and sheets, and a hairdryer in each room. But make sure that you bring any other toiletries like deodorant, a comb, other stuff like that you have. It's also a good idea to pack things like sunscreen, sunglasses, and a hat, because we're going to be outside for a lot of the gathering, walking to a lot of places. Also, the bus company has some rules about what is and isn't allowed on the bus, so I'm going to send that to you in another email. Most of that's pretty common sense, just to help to make sure that the bus stays clean and the floors don't get sticky and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about money for a minute. First of all, I went to the bank today to pick up some food money, and each day what's going to happen is that each person going to the gathering will get $40 per day for food, okay? The only exception to that is Monday when we leave, because we're going to be eating 2 meals on the road, not 3, okay? And then on Monday, what's going to happen is that you're going to get $20 for food, and that should be more than enough for you most days. Here's the rule with food money. You might have some left over each day, and that's fine. The rule is that by the end of the youth gathering, you need to either have given it back to me so that I will put in the offering plate in a manual, or you need to give any food money that you have left over into the offering on Sunday morning at worship when we're worshiping in the Superdome, okay? But you cannot keep that money, period. Also, you need to make sure that you bring about $100 to $125 in spending money with you to the gathering. This is for things like incidentals and souvenirs and other stuff like that we didn't budget for. All of our expenses should be paid for, but there might be some other things, some sightseeing tours and things like that we might need people to chip in a couple bucks for. If this is a financial hardship for you, let me know, and I'll be happy to find the money for you. So, with that, now that we've talked about money, I just want to talk about the rules for the gathering. Here are my general rules with the gathering. First of all, safety first. Okay? The most important thing that I care about while we're here, outside of you learning and growing in the life of faith, is that you are safe. Okay? And what that means is that you need to stay in a group at all times, and that you need to be with an adult, especially on the streets. Okay? We're going to a big city, and we're going to do everything we can to keep safe there, but there is a risk anytime you go into any city or any area that stuff happens. And so it's good that we stay together in a group. Also, because we practice safety first, we want to make sure that we don't bring anything at all that could endanger our safety. That means things like illegal drugs, alcohol, guns, knives, or anything else that could hurt yourself or someone else. And please know that there are no exceptions to this policy. None. And so if you happen to bring something that you shouldn't, like illegal drugs or alcohol or a gun on the trip, and you are caught with that, then you will be sent home, no questions asked, at your parents' expense. So I want to make that very, very clear. We practice safety first, and there are no exceptions to that. The second thing that I want us to know is that we will glorify God in everything that we say and do. And what that means practically is that you're going to wear appropriate clothing. So here's a for instance of what it means to wear appropriate clothing. If it advertises tobacco, alcohol, sex, or anything else that's questionable, then don't bring it. Just leave it at home, okay? That also means that we're going to use our manners to everyone that we come in contact with. And what that especially means is that even if someone is not kind to you, that does not mean that you will be rude to them. You will always be kind to people that you come in contact with. We also remember that we're on a church trip. We're not on vacation. And because we're on a church trip, we're representing the Lutheran Church. And because we don't want to do anything to embarrass or to misrepresent the Lutheran Church, we will not do anything that will embarrass ourselves, our family, or our church family. Okay? And the third big rule is that we're going to bring this experience back. We're going to make sure that what we do makes a difference at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. And the first thing that we're going to do is make sure that we thank the people at Emmanuel Lutheran Church for sending us to New Orleans. You guys have worked so hard in raising the money that's needed to go to New Orleans. But here's the thing. Most of that money that's been raised has come from the people at Emmanuel to support you. Okay? And so we want to make sure that we thank them. And we also want to make sure that what we do in New Orleans makes a difference in Emmanuel. Okay? So with that, I want to end with us just talking a little bit about the schedule. So first of all, 5:30 on Monday morning, you're going to meet at Mount Tabor. We're going to pack up the bus and then pray together, and then we're going to get on the bus, and it's going to be a long drive, like 12 to 14 hours or so, depending on how many stops we have to make. We're going to check into the hotel and spend some time together as a group, and then Tuesday is going to be our sightseeing day in New Orleans. I'm working on getting some reservations for a few places for us to see. We've also got to check in that day and register our group that day for the gathering. So that'll happen at some point during the day. But Tuesday is going to be our day to do stuff together as a group. Wednesday is the first official day of the gathering, and we're going to spend some time that morning doing some sightseeing in town. And then later that night, we're going to tailgate near the Superdome with other churches. Each night, there's going to be a gathering at the Superdome with 35,000 other Lutherans praising Jesus. It's going to be really cool. We'll have speakers, music, artists, and other fun stuff that's going to happen in the Superdome, the place where the New Orleans Saints play. Then, after that, each night after the mass gatherings in the Superdome, we'll get to go to hotels throughout New Orleans, and they'll have different things going on, like concerts, dances, other fun activities that'll be there. And because we're staying at a larger hotel, we'll have some of those activities happening in our very hotel too, which is pretty cool. After those are over, each night we'll get back together at 11 o'clock, and we're going to meet in my hotel room each night as a group. We're going to process the day. We're going to blog during the gathering so that we can tell people what's going on back in Emmanuel, read scripture, talk about the next day that's coming up, and then pray. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we've got 3 different focuses. Thursday, the focus is on practicing justice. And what that means is that we're going to look at ways that we can be people who do justice in the world. Our area of focus is environmental sustainability. I don't know what that looks like, but I know that it's probably going to be an active sort of thing because we have to sign a special release form for that. Friday, our focus is on practicing discipleship. And we're going to focus on ways that we can show the love of Jesus to other people in the world. We're going to gather with other South Carolina Lutherans that day. Saturday, we're going to focus on practicing peacemaking, and we're going to focus on ways in which we can be peacemakers in the world. It's going to have some fun activities that go with that as well, too. And then Sunday, we're going to worship in the dome together. Okay? That morning, we are communion assistants. Our group has been assigned for that. And so please make sure that you pack a pair of khaki pants and a white shirt for that morning. We'll be together as a group, and we'll have some speaking parts and some non-speaking parts. Then after worship, we'll drive back. We'll call parents when we get to the South Carolina-Georgia line, but we'll probably be at Mount Tabor probably between 12 and 1 o'clock on Sunday. So that's it. I'll see you on Sunday morning at 9:15 in the middle school classroom. In the meantime, if you've got any other questions, call me, text me, email me, whatever. Send me a message on Facebook, and we'll go from there. Bye, guys.